maybe.
What?
So they recently had that Dusty Rhodes documentary,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how I felt. I don't know if anybody else felt that way. I'm just going to ask you the question. They seem to kind of put up or present it that the falling out between Dustin and Dusty were over you. Is that accurate, and can you elaborate on it?
Um, yes and no. So the way this story goes and what happened actually is, um, I was in wrestling before Dustin was. Most people think I got my position based upon me dating Dustin. I was in that shit way before he was. Even though his dad was in it, it was a likely, thing for him to progress to. He was still a little young punk in Texas and was not a part of it when I broke in the business. So, anyway, I feel bad because I feel like this paints Dustin in a bad light, and I don't like to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Ask me the question again so I can like try to edit it in my
So
brain
the
so that
way
I
they
don't
painted the documentary is obviously Dustin
me
has a
yeah
falling out
me
with his
being the
father,
me being yeah
and you being the catalyst.
yeah okay so oh, this is I don't think I can express this. This is something I've only told my daughter. I don't think I can express this. All right, I'm going to give you as close to 100% as possible, and the only percentage that I won't tell you is something that would hurt Dakota and Dustin at this point.
Sure.
So, um, yeah, when Dustin and I, the way we started was I was out in Phoenix, and I was the makeup artist. I was not yet Alexandra York. I don't think I was anyway. But Tony Schiavone, I forget who all was in the like van that was like an extended van with extra people, like not a small one. And I had been on the deck of the Hilton Phoenix drinking with Dusty and uh, um, Janie. In the background is the hills of Phoenix, beautiful, like pink and blue color, it just beautiful. And Dustin pulls up in a cab with his golf clubs, and he gets out and he comes over, and I don't know what happened in me, but all of a sudden I was just like, he's kind of cute. He is kind of cute. So that night, like just a few hours later, he was in the van with us. We went to go eat, and he said, "I'm gonna blow this pop stand basically, and go hang with the boys." And I said, "No, you're not. You're gonna stay here with me, and we're gonna like have a great night." So he stayed in the van with me, and then when we came back, um, the first and only time I've ever had tequila was that night, and I forget how many shots of tequila I took, but I do remember this. He got me to my room. He put me under the covers. He was very kind, very gracious. Um, he did not do anything inappropriate. And the next morning, I remember calling him and saying, I need toothpaste because I couldn't find mine. And he brought it down. And then we fly back home from Phoenix to Atlanta, and he sends me this piece of paper through several people. Like, can you pass that down, pass it down. So I finally get this little document, and it says, "Will you go out with me on a lunch date?" And so I wrote back, "Nope, unless you ask me personally." Hold up, send back. So he asked me out properly. will you go to lunch with me? The day that we landed, we went to lunch together. He said, would you go to dinner with me tonight? I said, I will. Second day, lunch. Second day, dinner. Third day, he just moved in with me.
Mm.
So, yeah, so it was like a very, uh, I, I mean, Dustin has grown into his skin because he's so amazing and precious and wonderful. But back then, he was just a very insecure, like I was just telling someone about like Barry Windham saying, "Yeah, she fucked all the boys." Fuck you. If I did that, I'll grant it to you. I'll give it to you on a silver platter. Um, the night that I told Dustin I'm done was he came home because I didn't do TVs at all. So he came back and he said, "Oh my God." I told him at the beginning when we started dating who I'd been with.
Right.
And I wanted to be very honest and upfront and, this is who. And he came to my house and he goes, I can't believe you didn't tell me that you fucked Jake the Snake Roberts. I said, are you fucking kidding me? He goes, no. They told me you fucked. I said, not only haven't I not fucked Jake the Snake Roberts, I've never even met him in the flesh. I've never shaken his hand. I've never looked in his eyeballs. Fucking nothing. So you got a choice to make right here and now. Do you want to believe all this bullshit that the boys are trying to fuck you over with and like rape you with? Or do you want to believe me? He was like, okay, I believe you. And like it was so many years later before I ever even met Jake the Snake. But that just told me where Dustin's mindset and like the levels in which he was. So I think he's much wiser now. But yeah, that was a pretty shitty deal. I'm like, dude, choose. Either you trust what I've told you and whom I've been with, or you trust the boys that are fucking with you.
So do you think Dusty, who trusted the boys, was like, Dustin, what are you doing with this woman?
So we're in the Austin, Texas airport. He's brought me to meet his mom. Of course, I've already met Dusty because I'm in the business. And we had a great time. Like, it was a great visit. It was wonderful. Dustin's mom just passed in the last year, which is terrible, but she was always so funny and sweet and whatever. But we go to the airport in Austin to fly back to Atlanta. And Dustin doesn't hear this, but I do. Dustin Runnels, please go to the nearest, I don't know, what do you call the gimmicks? Like, a hotel, not a hotel, an airport.
Like a
Like a phone where somebody needs to tell you they're there or whatever.
like an intercom.
Yeah, anyway. So I'm like, Dustin, I think they just said your name. He's like, what? I'm like, dude, I think that they just said your name. Like, go find a phone and tell them, you're here. The minute he came back, he answered the phone. He had a conversation. The minute he came back, he looked at me. He goes, don't talk to me. I said, excuse me? Don't say a fucking word to me. I cried from Austin to Atlanta. And he said to me, he goes, my dad told me you're after my money. And the irony is, at that moment, he had not even fucking paid an ounce of taxes. I owed no one anything. I had money in the bank. He didn't have fuck all. But yet, his dad told him, she's out for your money. So, I'm not one to back down. And, I just said, Dusty, you fucked up. You said and done the wrong thing. And, I'm here to help your son, not hurt him. But, yeah, that was, and there's a way bigger story to that as well. But yeah.
But you confronted Dusty and said,
Oh, I
"This
didn't
is
have a
this is a
problem with
problem."
fucking Dusty.
Wow, look
yeah.
at you.
I was
Nice.
like, dude, I love your son. I love your son with all of my heart. I am not trying to hurt him. I'm trying to help him.
Right.
And don't you dare. And then, then he said, because I was good friends with Stan Kasten, who was the first person to ever be a manager of the Atlanta Hawks, Braves, and Thrashers. First person ever to do that. Stanley and I were great friends. And so Dusty said to Dustin, she's fucking Stan Kasten. Another one, yeah. And I was just like, dude, you gotta pick, because I can't keep doing this shit. You know, I told you who I was with. I told you my history. And if you don't believe me, I need you to go.
So Dustin chose you.
Yes, until I didn't choose him.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Did you ever make peace with Dusty, or was it just basically like, go F yourself, or,
No,
permanently?
no.
Or?
I really appreciated the grandfather that he was to Dakota.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Dakota was his first grandchild. Dakota's son, Rowan, is his first great-grandchild.
Okay.
So I really appreciated the way that he loved her, and they had a great rapport, and that was awesome. And, I was just very thankful for that.
Did he ever apologize to you at any
No,
point and say,
no,
maybe
no.
I was off about all of my conduct?
Nor would he.
Interesting.
Nor
All
would
right.
he.
How about his wife? Did she apologize for him?
Grandma Michelle, years later, was sending me some money, and this is something like most people don't know, but like when Dustin was in his darkest times, he had a property on 7 acres, and one day I got a ring at the front door, and it was that his property was in, help me, it starts with a J, help me. Somebody come up with the word.
I'm trying to think.
When you can't pay your,
She got a lien?
no, it's a J, I think. It's a J.
Jeez. Well,
You have
Hey,
all the
wait,
all the
wait,
fancy
wait,
words.
wait.
Gorp the grappler.
Yeah, and you have all the
A,
fancy
B,
words.
C, D, E, F,
Hey, you went to
What,
college.
an injunction or
H,
something?
I, J, K,
That
L,
starts with an
M,
I.
N, O, P. Okay, wait.
Now I know my ABCs. What's going on here? Wait,
Wait, what's it called?
I don't know. A what?
What?
No, but thank you, Abe Lincoln. I appreciate it.
Okay, so anyway, we have this unidentified word,
So anyway,
but the
someone knocks
situation
at my
is...
door and says, we're going to take his house away from him.
Oh, just like the studio.
The only reason they did that...
You gotta be kidding me, bro. You really aren't. You know what? I have a J, jackass. Anyway, go ahead. Unbelievable.
Sorry.
I can't even...
Why'd you say that, Terry?
What? I say what?
You know what you said.
What? What did I say?
What you just said. Don't worry about it. We'll go on.
Okay. Yeah.
Oy.
I was just laughing. Anyway.
All right, so they're taking away his house.
Yes.
Yeah. And
God,
in
order in
Florida
the court.
law at that time,
Yeah.
when I divorced him was 1999.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to sign a document that if your spouse sold their property, you had to be notified.
Oh, a jurisdiction.
So I get a knock on my door, and
Yeah.
they're like, we're about
Judgment?
to take his
A
property.
judgment. A judgment of
I don't know.
something or
We're
other.
going to take his property,
Yeah.
and it was only $56,000. And I was like, okay, so let me keep him from going into freaking, what do you call it? When you lose your house? No.
Oh,
It starts with an
foreclosure.
F.
Foreclosure. Wow, I got one.
Let me save him
Not bad.
from going into foreclosure.
Yeah, yeah.
And in the meanwhile, because he hadn't been paying child support for Dakota, I thought in the meanwhile, I'll flip the house, use the funds to take care of Dakota for the rest of her life.
Logical.
And
Can I just stop you on that for one second?
Of course you can.
I'm very sorry, and I don't want to harp on that, but how long wasn't he paying child support? And at any point, do you reach out to, I don't know how that goes, but like to Dusty or the mom and be like, "Yo,
Well,
your son's
Dusty,
not
you're
even
not-
taking
you're not
care of
dealing
his
with Dusty,
child."
I
No,
mean-
no. I didn't reach out to anyone. I just sucked it up for as long as I could.
Right.
And then so I
Wow.
buy his house, and he refused to sell it to me unless I gave him $45,000 in cash.
What the hell?
So I
He
gave
owes
him
her, and he-
45,000 in cash, and then his dad had a $70,000 lien on the house because Turnbuckle Entertainment that he was starting. So I paid off Dusty's debt. I paid off Dustin's debt. I paid off so he didn't have to go into foreclosure. And that was like literally 2008, and the market crashed. I paid $18,000 to a contractor to get his house back in sellable condition, and like I ended up paying, I think it was 13 months of two mortgages, his and mine, and then finally I was just like, I can't keep paying, all this shit. I gotta unload this. But it was during that horrible 2008
Yeah.
time
Oh,
where
sure.
nobody
Yeah.
was buying fuck all.
Nope.
Right.
So
Nope.
yeah, this dude that had an auction, he's like, I think this would be good for you. Long story short, $45,000 was what the property went for. 45. So
Crazy.
Dakota lost every ounce of anything that her dad would support her with. I lost everything because I had been paying and renovating and doing all this stuff to the house. But this story doesn't end sad. It ends beautifully in that Dustin went to rehab, and he is more healthy now than he's ever been, and he remains very sober, and I'm proud of him. So all that shit is by the wayside.
Was it alcohol, his deal?
Well, I didn't know until the day he came to my house, and he was bawling in tears. And he's like, I gotta go somewhere. I gotta go somewhere. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what? He goes, I never knew how much he drank and took a day. I had been away from him for a while. He was with his now wife, Terrell, which she's very good at taking care of him and, his business and everything. But, and I appreciate her. But yeah, it was just a sad time. It was sad. Yeah. And then I went through, it's interesting.